All right, now, hi everybody. This is Mike Frankovich. I'm going to do an update on my Assembly Bill 210 video, let you know what's going on with the bill, uh, and give you some more information about why I think that they really do need to bump this smog exemption year up in the state of California. I'm going to start off. I'm happy to announce that a couple weeks ago I went down. I had to get my pace for smog for the registration renewal. It had no problems passing. It wasn't even close to failing. So my pacer's good to go for another 2 years. Now, some people would ask, well, if your car has no problem passing, why are you, pushing this bill so much to get these cars to be exempt? There's a lot of reasons for that, and we're going to kind of go into that. Since the last video, which I believe was early March, the Facebook group Californians for Classic Car Smog Exemptions, the membership has actually pretty much more than doubled. I think we were about 150 or so when I made the last video. Now we're up to 310 as of this morning. And a lot of that's been through word of mouth, things like that. People that have seen this video and clicked on the link in the description, which I'm going to put a link in the description of this video, so you can actually join the group. A lot of people have said they're not on Facebook, they can't join the group, so that's why I'm really making an update video for those people, because we want to kind of get those guys involved too, even if they can't actually join in on the Facebook group. The originally Assembly Bill 210 was supposed to have been voted on March 25th by Assemblyman Vopel. I believe he's from like San Diego County. He was the guy that pushed the bill, put the bill in. He decided to move it to early 2020 and make it what's called a 2-year bill, since there really wasn't a lot of support from the other Assembly people for this bill. Um, since really there was no lead up time, there's been really hardly any organization of people coming forward to say, yeah, we want to see this go through because we want to protect our automobile history in the state. So it got pushed to January 2020. I believe that's what he said. It's going to be around January of 2020. And we're going to try to get a group to go up to Sacramento to go when they read the bill. So we have a bunch of like regular guys who are into cars, in this assembly where they're used to seeing politicians and lobbyists and people like that. I think it'd be good for them to see that there's a bunch of regular people, regular car guys and gals, who really want to see this go through. So that's going to be huge. So what we still need is we need to see people sending letters of support to their assembly persons, to the transportation committee of the California Assembly, and things like that. We definitely need that. They need to see names, and they need to know that there's a large number of people who want to see this go through. There's also been an online petition going around. You can actually find it. Actually, there's a link to it if you go to the Californians for Classic Car Smog Exemptions Facebook group. There's a link there. If not, you can go to Google. Just type in AB210 Smog petition. The petition should pop up. I didn't put the petition together. There was another member of the group that put this petition together to get this done. I'm not sure how much weight they're going to take on a petition versus a letter. I would do both. I would do a petition and send a letter or a phone call or an email or whatever you have to do to let it be known. Also, get your car clubs involved with this as well. And so hopefully they can get on board with supporting this. Things I could see if the bill doesn't pass. For years, I think a lot of our historic vehicles have left the state or even the country because even cars that like had no problem passing, a lot of people have been like scared, to go into a smog era car because they're afraid of spending the money on them, and then later on finding out they can't even get them registered. I find that you can generally keep them in tune and keep them legal, but obviously you can get a smog inspector who's worried about one single part that maybe doesn't look like original or something like that. You can fail a visual inspection. There's a lot of like they keep adding more and more tests. I remember when the only smog test it was like an idle test and they revved it up, and then later on they came out with the rollers, and they were testing the evap system and the gas cap. There's all these different things they've added on that could fail your car, and I think that's a lot of the fear of owning a post 1975 car in the state of California. Um, Also, something I didn't mention in the other video, I did not mention, I probably should have. Technically, I believe you're not supposed to sell a car that's of smog era without a valid smog certificate. And I think that's even if it's not running. I've heard people say, well, if it's not running, it's a project vehicle. You can still sell it. You sign a thing saying, make the person, if when the seller gets the buyer to sign a thing saying, I understand there's no smog certificate because it's not currently able to be driven on the road. I've heard yes and no. When I bought my Pacer, it sat 27 years. I was not getting a smog certificate with it because, I was on the understanding I have to get it running and do all that stuff myself. It'd be nice to either see them, change the law where if it's a project vehicle, you could do that. That way, more of these cars would get saved. Also, when I went and smogged the Pacer, the first time I go to this guy because he's the cheapest place to get pre-OBD2 cars done in Pasadena. Everybody wants 85 and up. There's this guy who does them for 65. Originally, I went down there and his smog machine was down. And I've seen that a lot with smog machines for the pre-OBD2. They tend to go down. They're like the McFlurry machine of smog checks. They go down a lot. Fortunately, a couple days later, he had it back up and running. But essentially, they're a pain in the ass. All these smog stations just don't want to deal with that machine anymore because how many cars are, 1995 and older nowadays on the road? Anybody, you can take a drive anywhere in the state and you're not going to see very many of these cars on the road, any pre-1996 cars that are still out there. They're generally collector vehicles now. Also, exempting these cars will get more of the younger generation into the car hobby. We're already seeing a lot of that right now. The Malaise Day show, which was this past weekend, the Malaise Motors Group on Facebook, is 1972 to 1995 cars, as well as the Radwood Group, where Radwood, they've been doing shows. They started in 2017, all 1980s and 1990s cars. And they started doing shows in 2017. The first one was actually in the San Francisco Bay Area. The second one was in the LA area, actually in Anaheim in 2017, and it's kind of exploded since then. Now they did shows all over the country last year. I believe they're about to do a show they're doing one in London and they're doing one in Tokyo. So it's really gone worldwide. These cars are getting a lot of attention now. Even like the big auction companies like Barrett Jackson and Mecum and all of them are pushing more of these cars because they're seeing this younger generation. And a lot of the cars are still relatively affordable. I own a Fox Body Mustang. I don't have a whole lot of money in that car, but it's a great car. Plus, they're really, they're good cars. And it's important to get this younger generation these cars. These people, younger generation, can't go out and buy a 69 Camaro Super Sport anymore. Those are expensive cars now. All your late 60s, early 70s muscle cars have just gone insane in value where, the average car enthusiast cannot afford them anymore. So when you're getting into these later cars, it's something people can still have fun with, still go to car shows and wow people, and just on a limited budget. My Pacer, I took it to a car show a couple weeks ago, and it's not the most perfect car. It's an original paint car. It's got a lot of flaws. I won the People's Choice Trophy, because people were coming up to me. We haven't seen one of these in years, and I get a lot of comments like that. And so, it's really about preserving that history. Also, it's going to be more money for the state in the long run if these cars are exempted, because there's a lot of businesses that specialize in maintaining and restoring and doing work to these vintage cars, and that helps those businesses out. Obviously, they do provide business tax revenue as well as sales tax revenue to the state and to like local governments. As well, more cars on the road in the state of California means more registration money going to the state, which our tags are pretty darn high now, and we don't get a break for collector car plates in this state unless it's a very expensive car. The part of the registration it actually eliminates is just the one that's tied to the value of the vehicle. So the state's still going to be getting a lot of money from the registration of these cars. Also, there's a federal law where you can bring in any car over 25 years old from out of the country, and it doesn't have to meet EPA or DOT. It'd be nice to see more of those cars on the road in California, so at least maybe if this bill goes through, they'll be able to register up, these vehicles up to at least 1982, which would be good to see. So our plans going forward to support this bill. First of all, as I mentioned, we're going to try to get a group together to go up to the California Assembly in Sacramento. It's a bit of a hike here from Pasadena, California, but I think we're going to try to get some people. It's nice to see people from all over going up there to let these people know, to bring a large group of car people who are regular people in the state. We're not lobbyists. We're not politicians. We're not, people with all these groups with special interests or businesses, trying to go in there. We're just like normal folks, just trying to get this done, to protect our history. There's no money behind this. Ford, GM, and Chrysler aren't going to go donating money to anyone's political campaign over this Assembly Bill 210, because they realistically have nothing to gain other than, because more of their older cars are on the road, with their nameplates, kind of shows that their cars are good cars, even though there's not much in common with the new cars with the old cars anymore. Although, in addition to that, they are starting to make cars. I know GM, Chrysler, and obviously they have their crate motor programs, which a lot of them would get used in these cars. So maybe they would have something, but they're not getting involved in this at all. It's mainly just regular people, regular citizens who are just into old cars. And as I mentioned, we really need to get more clubs involved. The clubs are huge, because when they read the Assembly bill and who supports it and who opposes it, it's going to be like, a list of clubs a mile long would be amazing, because then they know those are all groups of people. And then when they get to the end, all they say is like this many individuals, so like 500 individuals, or I think as the last one said, 900 plus individuals on the last bill. They tried to get the smog year bumped up. So it'd be nice to actually have them sit there and make just read off an entire huge list of different car clubs and different car groups that want to see this go through. And it's going to be tough, because you got, as we mentioned, the Sierra Club. They're a big time lobby group in the state of California. Our state, when they did the state quarters, I don't know how many years it's been now, they had the state quarters. Our state quarter had John Muir, the founder of the Sierra Club, on the quarter. You would think, that's what they had on there to represent the state of California. So the Sierra Club is like huge in the state of California. Obviously they're going to oppose the bill as they opposed all the other bills that they try to get through to get this done. But I think if enough people, if it's actual people and not just like these lobby groups that they see time and time again for these different bills, maybe they'll see that it's that these are the kinds of people that want to see this happen and want to see, cars preserved and our heritage preserved in this state. So that's basically what I have for you today. My name is Mike Frankovich. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If there's any more information, any more updates on this bill, I will be sure to make a video, especially for you guys that can't join the Facebook group. Just hit that subscribe button. I do post other car videos and things like that as they come along. And we'll see what we can do here. And thanks for watching.